We have a new guest in the studio. We will be taking photos at KICC. Good to have you in the Situation Room.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. That is the hot seat.
It is.
Make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
Enjoy the heat
hot.
as it rises. Yes, I've seen you've come with your own water.
Yes, well, from you, but yes, I brought it inside.
Well, karibu sana.
Thank you.
We are talking about the Kenyatta International Conference Center. Many people hear KICC, many people think of very many things as about KICC. You've been the CEO for a number of years now. How many years now?
I'm coming up into my 7th year.
7.
So I've done my 2 terms. I'm concluding with my 2nd term. I'll be finishing at the end of this year. And I did, before that, 6 months, 7 months of acting. So coming up to a close, yes.
In those very many years, you've interacted with very many people. And that's why I started by saying, many people hear KICC, many people think of very different things about KICC.
Yes.
What are those very many different things that people think about? Before you tell us what you actually offer.
Okay. I think, first and foremost, it's a meeting spot. For very many years, it's 47 years old, 48 years old. And obviously, before the days of phones, mobile phones, etc., all of that, you would say, let's meet at KICC. So there's a meeting point in the city. If you ever get lost, you can use it as a directional point. Well, another thing about that is concerts, events taking place. What else is there? I think also a platform for artists is another one as well. Major international conferences, showing that Kenya is capable of doing business and hosting businesses. Hopefully a change. I know when I came to KICC, it was very hard to try and do business, there's a lot of cartels, as you will find in many places with that, but was able to demystify that. And hopefully just a place now where I would like to say that people have an easier event space to be able to carry out. And again, we don't have a rodent problem, but it's mice that we do. So it's, our meetings, incentive travel, conferences and exhibitions. So with that.
And that is what MICE is all about.
Yes.
How many? So we have, let's define KICC. This is City Hall Way.
Yes. The
City
Golden
Hall Way,
Square sort of thing, yeah.
That square all the way starting from the Supreme Court up City Hall Way to Parliament Road, down Parliament Road to Harambe Avenue.
Treasury.
To the Treasury. That entire area is KICC.
It is.
Not just the tall building and the conical building.
Yes.
Everything in between. Plus the statutes.
Yes. Exactly, yes, it's there.
Okay. Now that tall building has very many floors. How many floors?
It does. It has 28, and then after that you have the next floor up, which would be technically the 29th floor, but that's the revolving restaurant, which is 1.5 floors. And then after that we have the helipad. So 30 floors in total. Once upon a time used to be the largest, tallest building, but now obviously superseded by other buildings, which is a good thing.
Others have come up.
Yes.
So is there also office space at KICC?
It is. So again, we are an event space and also we are a landlord. So we also house, we're considered an annex of Parliament. So we house Senate, MPs, governors. So.
And they pay you?
Yes, they do now. Yes. Yes, no, nothing is for free. And also to demystify, I do not live at KICC. I do not have a penthouse on the top.
Okay.
But
there should be a CEO's.
Well, my office is not there as well. My office is a lot further down because I have to be able to access quickly to come down. So waiting for the lift might be a bit of a struggle sometimes.
It was, I remember when I first came, and I also I saw the different pictures and I would hear the different things, and coming into Nairobi, KICC was monumental in terms of what then it presented for a lot of people who travel from different parts of the country would come, and the thing is that you wanted to take a photo at the KICC. I remember seeing many when people, I think, were trying to put their finger on the building and things like that.
Yes.
Do you think that it still represents the same? Does it still represent the same for people as iconic? And then even looking into, 21st century business and Nairobi being the regional hub that it is for so many things, does it play a role still in all of this?
I believe it does, and I'd like to hope that it does. It is an iconic building. As I mentioned, it's, one of the, we have a lot of foot traffic of people coming to visit. So with that, but I think it is definitely an iconic building. It is something to be proud about. And it's also, that's why, I'm extremely honored to be custodian of KICC. My job at KICC was to do one thing: make sure I leave it better than I found it. And I hope that's what I've been able to do. So iconic building, my first task when I got there was because it was known as the Samsung headquarters. We had that advertisement on it. So again, that was one of the things we were able to bring down and remove, because obviously with the architecture and everything like that was to be able to bring it back to that specific type of iconic building. And then after that, hopefully with the different events that we've been able to host, the different people we've been able to support, the different international meetings we've also been able to host, I do hope that without drilling it into people that it is an iconic building, people are already beginning to say that. They're like, yes, it is coming back. So to answer your question, it is an iconic building, and I think it's really up to the person who is left in charge to ensure that that continues. It's like if you're left something, an heirloom, it's up to you to decide whether or not it's going to be part of your family as you pass it down. So I think with this one here, I want to make it clear. I'm not saying that KICC is my family type of thing, but I'm just making coalition to that. But again, with that, and going back to, I'm a civil servant at the end of the day. And the first order of business as a civil servant is to be extremely proud to be custodian of such a large institution.
And is it and should it be then the first port of call for external visitors? Because I think around cities in Africa, I think about the Abuja Convention Center, I think about the Kigali Convention Center, Johannesburg. Let's just look at the continent, and convention centers in the middle of in the city or in the capitals of these countries would more often than not be the first port of call for external meetings, international things like that. Should it still be, whether Nana Gecaga is there at the end of 2022 or whomever is going to be there in 2023? Should it be?
I think it should. I think the person sitting at the helm of it is, like I said, is a custodian. It's not that you're coming to KICC because of myself. It should be for what is being installed and institutionalized. So I think definitely, and also again, that's one thing that we're really actually trying to reinvent, and not reinvent, actually push, because you made a very good point. When you speak of the Abuja Convention Center, you speak of all the different convention centers around Boston Convention Center around the world, Malaysia Convention Center. All of those definitely attract the delegate, and that is the business tourist. And that is what our mandate is as KICC. We are mandated to, as one of our many, is to also push conference tourism, but it's also the I in MICE, which is incentive tourism. Incentive travel. And having said that, the business tourist is very different to the regular tourist, because the business tourist, you're normally coming by yourself, you're a delegate. So we've dubbed it the Delegate Experience. And that is something that we're embarking on heavily this year in terms of getting that name out there. We're looking at different platforms. Amazon had to start somewhere, Coca-Cola had to start somewhere, Butter had to start somewhere, everything had to start somewhere, but it's formalizing those correct partnerships, those tight partnerships that would be able to catapult the delegate experience. So once you finish at your conference, and it's not even for KICC, we're just the biggest player. But again, once you've finished, you then are able to travel, you're able to now do a safari, a beach, all of that. And it's leaving your dollars here in the economy. It's that ripple effect. So again, we do play, when I say we as a delegate, as business tourism, it plays a huge part in the tourism number in the economies. So again, as a business tourist, yes, definitely, that is who we are marketing. I believe that should be the first point of call. But then again, we work now closely and also let everybody know that, we also have the hotels. We've got to have that seamless connectivity into the country. The hotels have got to have that great service, and also again, Kenya's got to be able to offer something for the delegate, not only travel, because yes, you can go on safari by yourself, you can go sit on the beach by yourself, but our shopping, go to the mall, go to the cinema, things that people like and can do by themselves, because that's most of the time that they're going to be doing that, and Kenya's on the bucket list, so why not?
You've said something, and I think I agree with you, that KICC sits in the driver's seat of the incentive tourism. Working, I'm sure, in collaboration with the Kenya Tourism Board.
Of course.
Have you defined that delegate experience, as you've called it? Have you been able to actually say, so this is the delegate experience of somebody comes to Kenya, you're coming to a meeting, whether you're coming to KICC or not, but you're a delegate coming for a conference, for a meeting, for an expo in Nairobi. This is what you're going to experience, and KICC is right there. What is that experience?
It is, and we've been able to do that. We've actually got videos that are coming out now. We're going to be releasing them from the 1st of April. And then also, again, what is it? It's basically the same thing. You come into Nairobi, you are obviously in the city, so you're welcomed. We're also working with the Kenya Airports Authority to be able to have a delegate line when you're coming in. And then after that, when you're in your hotel in Nairobi, you come to the meeting. After that, what are you doing in the evening? We team up with, of course, the different restaurants, the experiences, the nightlife. Now that, the pandemic is hopefully a bit on the downside, obviously all protocols observed, but still being able to do that. The same way that in London you'd go out and they have the big theatre district to watch a play, or New York. Here, what can we offer? We can offer the nightlife. We can offer the gastro experience, the dining experience, which is huge. Everybody, and again with social media, everybody wants to capture that picture. Everybody wants to do that. Again, we're also doing packages, so 3, 5, 7, 10-day packages. So depending on what you're able to do when you come. Because again, like I mentioned, it's normally your company or somebody who's paying for you to come as out for training and everything like that. So if they're already paying for your ticket, why not? It's no charge to extend it. So a lot of people are doing that now. So they're doing that. So 3 days can either be going up to Nakuru or Naivasha or to the national park. We are the only city in the world that has a national park in the city. So within 30 minutes, you can experience that. You can do a sundowners in the park after you finished your meeting, or sunrise game drive. If you've got a bit more time, we like to package it. So maybe do 2 days on safari, 3 days at the beach, so making up the 5 days. And then your 10 day is basically everything all together. Nairobi, Naivasha or Nakuru, the safari and the beach.
So
Again,
who's putting this together?
We team up with we also have now teamed up with the hotels. And that's what we're actually now pushing to do, because we're also now having and inviting all the hotels. We like to think of it as being inclusive, not exclusive.
Is there a formal organized meeting committee that is working on this?
We have a projects team at KICC. We've written to a lot of the hotels, 4-star, 3-star, 5-star, 2-star guest houses, because of course, again, it's dependent on your budget with that. So after we've done that, the team are now formulating, writing to everybody, inviting them to come on board, because again, we are going to be redoing our website, like I said, when we're launching, and you have a drop down. So our preferred partner hotels. But again, this is nothing that is exclusive to anybody who has got a property that obviously fits the criteria in terms of that standard that you need to meet. We're happy to host you. But again, we've done very destination selling type of videos. We've not specifically pinpointed a specific hotel. So if it's the Mara, it is capturing that experience of in a Jeep, on a safari, meeting and doing CSR. If it's on the beach, it's that. If it's gastro tourism, it's doing the same thing. If it's Nairobi, teaming up with the museums. So we're also doing day trips there, also to the baby elephants, the giraffe manor, and also to the city markets. So again, we've been very broad in terms of what the experiences are, not saying this is a hotel that you've got to stay at. Right. We leave it up to you.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
yes.
But I get a feeling that, yes, KICC should be at this table, but there should be a formal, clearly organized team that is actually working on this project. Because I'm just thinking the Nairobi City County government ought to be primary to this conversation. So we have the National Museums. This is under the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Heritage. They should be there. KTB, Ministry of Tourism, that also brings in KWS. for the parks. They should be here. We have the hotel associations. What are the
Hotel Keepers Association,
Keepers
yes.
Association,
With the chair,
and
Mike Masharia, yes.
they come in here. I think there should be something formal so that you're all working towards the same thing. You are doing a good job creating a product, but if you're working in your own silo without everybody else on board, then
And let me just, sorry, Eric, for that. And let me just correct you because maybe I didn't, and I apologize, didn't communicate that correctly. We've the partnerships that we formed. So we do have the partnerships with the Hotel Keepers Association, with KWS in terms of also with the partner, with the parks. A reduced fee with that. We also have KTB on board. We do cross-pollinate amongst all the relevant parastatals or government ministries. So again, sports and culture, they do come on board in terms of also giving people a platform. So we do actually work all together. One of the things I do honestly believe is not working in a silo. You can't really go far alone. So one of the key things that we are actually doing is really doing multi-agency type of work. With that, and just even to explain more about that, we had the expo last month at Dubai, and again, KICC was co-opted to work with KIPROBA in terms of helping out with the expo. But again, we also capitalize that and use that to also market our delegate experience in Dubai to the business events sector there. But sorry for that. Yes, we do partnered with a lot of agencies, and we're actually taking it a step further because we're also looking at because of the foot traffic that we have at KICC. So we're also looking at being able to what's the word I'm looking for? Take on some companies. For instance, if it's we're starting even a gift shop at KICC, but it's not going to be just with your water, your sodas, all of that. We're also creating space for small companies who are doing leather products, who are doing beadwork, who are doing face products, exactly that type of thing in there as well, giving them a residency, giving them a space, because again, the type of people that come through our doors is who they're speaking to. So we are very, very inclusive. I think to a point where, we've gotten a lot of feedback and a lot of partnerships. We like to call them friends of KICC with that. And one of them was also obviously when we did the World Cup viewing at the KICC with that. So,
who are our greatest competitors when it comes to the services that KICC provides within the region?
Gosh, I mean, it's everybody's, and even when we say competitors, yes, but I'd like to call them partners, but it is right. I mean, you are right when you say competitors. Of course, we've got Rwanda. We have, again, Tanzania, South Africa, are also big. For the last 3 years, KICC has won the best venue in Africa at the World Travel Awards, which is the highest acclaim of awards in the hospitality industry, and also the Nairobi as the business city. Under KICC. So extremely happy about that. And the reason why I don't say competitor is because we are actually lagging in terms of a lot of space. So back to, again, what we've also been doing is just before the pandemic, I was doing I wouldn't call it a roadshow, but a tour of all the different hotels in either Naivasha, the coast, the different regions, because about 7-10 years ago, a lot of the hotels started with the ballrooms. Really investing in that, making ballrooms, making those type of spaces, but it was for parties, dinners, etc. like that. So when it started having a bit of a lull, I then started meeting with the different regions and holding workshops and stating, you've got these rooms, but let's turn them into meeting rooms. You've got the banqueting chairs, line them up, and with very little money, you've already got a meeting space. And generating a lot of money. Conferencing is a big business, as you're aware. Naivasha, you can see Mombasa is huge. Nairobi is also huge, again, with the different hotels. So that was one of the things as well, is because I said, look, it's great if KICC, if we're at full to capacity, we could probably have about 30,000 people. But it would be great if we had KICC doing 30,000 people, all the other hotels in Nairobi doing other meetings. A meeting is anywhere, obviously, with 2 or more people. So if we're doing 30,000, and we could probably do like maybe, because even Sarit Center with their convention center, there's only 2 obviously official convention centers. They're another big partner of ours. So again, we could do another 20,000 in Nairobi. And then if you look at Mombasa, you're looking again gosh, if you'd even convert the waterfront, Mamagina water space, again, another 35,000. If you look at Naivasha, full to capacity, again. So if we're only as KICC and doing 30,000, but as a country, we can be pushing weekly, close to 100,000. That's where we really changed the game.
So regionally, who's beating us to it?
Actually, KICC is the largest venue. It's just really about marketing, because I know, again, the elephant in the room, as people like to say, is, Kigali.
Right.
Obviously they've teamed up with the Radisson Hotel. Their capacity is 5,000 people. To be honest, that's our Savo ballroom. We can do up to 30,000.
With their traffic then.
And again, I wouldn't even say that, because they do more of, and another thing as well, that a big player, the number one player that we have actually really been working with, and I've been doing since I got into KICC, is associations. That is the key. What a lot of people don't realize is that if we want to hold a convention in terms of a dentistry or an aviation, we are not allowed to bid for it. You have to join the specific association attached to that and bid together. So again, one of the major stakeholders and players that we've been also using and working together with are the association, letting them know that it is basically, this is a partnership. We cannot do anything without yourself. Exhibitions, we've got no problem with that, but any of those other associations, and that is where Rwanda beat us. That is when you hear about a lot more of the meetings coming through with that. But in terms of the bigger meetings and the numbers, in terms of your UNCTAD, your TCADs, your NEPAD, which we just had like two weeks ago, Kenya actually is still number one with that. But when you look at the numbers, it's through association, and that is through ICA. And ICA, so when you see those numbers as Rwanda being ranked first, Kenya's at third, it's actually, they're taking the numbers of association. But having said that, I don't want to say that, there's many ways to skin a cat, and there's also many ways for us to have an improvement, so again, that is where we are lagging with the associations. That's where we need to be doing our rally calls. That's where we need to be bringing our partners on board. And again, why not? We're also looking at partners. So when I'm now meeting with the Convention Bureau CEO in Rwanda, or in South Africa, the CEO of the Convention Center, we're looking at partnerships, especially in East Africa, because a passport was created. That East Africa passport. So that was created. It was for that cross connectivity. We each have a piece of a puzzle that we can all add to. So whatever Kenya can do, that's what we kind of try and do. But again, a lot of people are like, wow, that's really, you're being very inclusive. And I'm like, well, of course I'm going to be inclusive, because at the end of the day, that's when your real numbers come in. If you can be able to give, you show them what you're doing in Kenya, and then you send them across to Rwanda. Rwanda picks up, Uganda picks up, Tanzania picks up. It's that experience that you want to do. Again, it's like the concert, how you have different multi-cities. An artist is not going to come and just do it in one city. So you want to do those kind of delegates to do that as well.
Okay.
But to answer your question in terms of who are our competitors, Kigali, in terms of the associations, South Africa, because of the space capacity, they can hold a lot more. And also, we really also need to really push this, the Convention Bureau. This is something that, has been going back and forth for a very long time since I have gone there. It's a very good incentive. It's a very good, the Convention Bureau, the whole purpose of that is the bidding entity of the country. So if you want to have an Olympics, they're the ones to do the bidding, because as of now, KICC is a one-stop shop. But I believe it's you've got KTB doing one part, you've got somebody else doing another part, you've got KICC doing another part. And also one major player as well, I have to say, and say a big thank you to in terms of ministries, is Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because they also come in and provide us the big high-level government meetings.
Okay, let's take a break then at 27 minutes to 10. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. Our guest this morning is Nana Gecaga. She is the CEO of the Kenyatta International Conference Center. We're talking about events, meetings at the KICC, and also just looking at Kenya as a destination for meetings, incentive travel, conferences, and events. We'll be back shortly after we take a look at the traffic and weather.
This is the Situation Room.
Our guest is Nana Gecaga, the CEO of KICC. We are talking about mice at KICC. Yes, if you don't get it, forget about it. KICC, you said KICC is how many years old now?
47. Is that
So-
correct? 40. Actually, sorry, because I will just be missing the 50 years. So we're going into 48th year, and then next 49th. So yeah,
She had given us a discount.
Just on the
Yeah.
discount.
when they were building it, when the building part.
Yeah, it's the building, is the construction
the
side of
construction
things.
part. Yes, yeah.
KICC is around my contemporary. KICC and I are about the same time, same age. We need a facelift. When was the last time it got a facelift? Because if you look at the main hotels, for example, in the country, you'll see after every so often, they do something. They just pull out the carpet, they put new carpet, they bring in new furniture. What about KICC?
Well, we're actually in the middle of it now in terms of a facelift, and I'd like to say a very minor facelift. And when I say minor, it's because no actual brick and mortar. In terms of moving it around with that. It's
So what exactly is happening?
So we are actually creating new meeting rooms in terms of new facelifts of that. So we have a balcony which is overlooking the main statue of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, and that was a balcony that was literally not in use. So last year we were able to put high glass up around it, but obviously leave some space. And as we call it now, the inside-outside meeting space. Obviously, with the COVID pandemic and the protocols, so we have that circulation. Inside, we had a room. We used to call it the blue room. It's nothing like, a rock star's room or anything. It was blinding. It was that blue. You just, every time we'd have to have a meeting in there, just be mortified and be like, oh my gosh, goodness, can we not find another room? So that has also been changed, and really proud of that and really excited about that. So as of now, we've
So
done...
what is it now? A red room?
No, now it's actually it's a glass room. So it's a glass room, new chairs, a desk with that. And we've also done a delegates waiting space also just outside of that where we're creating a space for people to be able to sit and convene.
Mm-hmm.
Also, again, opposite the VIP room, and also His Excellency also has an office at KICC. So, and again, also the DP as well. So we've got 3 rooms along over there. Opposite that, we've converted that space into 2 boardrooms that can hold 20 and 15 people, and in the middle, a holding room. And then we've got the outside-inside room. Lanana and Aberdare, which is below Savo. We're in the middle right now, currently, of upholding that, removing the carpet, etc. with that, doing those 2 rooms. And then we would like to complement 2 more rooms outside for that. So that is where we're at right now. It's something so we're looking in total of about 9 new meeting. When I say new, they've been there, but we're just doing a minor facelift to it. And then after that, hopefully the second component is to look with partnering. I'm very big with partnering. Obviously, I hold the purse strings to government money. We are actually self-sufficient. We don't depend on the exchequer with that. So we've actually done... With that. So again, I like to look for a lot of partnerships. So we're hoping to also partner and have some very nice screens like you have here. So again, for ICT, small meetings with that type of...
When you say self-sufficiency, I have to ask the question.
Yes.
Do you manage to give the exchequer money?
With returning money afterwards.
No. For instance, you are a
An
government.
A&E,
You
yes.
are a government entity.
Yes.
You make money.
Yes.
People pay you for parking.
Yes.
People pay you for taking pictures.
For rent. Pictures we don't collect.
No,
the
I'm
money.
joking.
Of course, yes.
You collect rent.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, is that money used simply for ensuring that the services at KICC are maintained, or do you
pay a dividend?
Well, with anything, of course, with the budget, with A&E, if there's any money to be returned, it comes back through with that. So we do give some back, and we're also looking at, of course, the first part is working on our maintenance and using and reusing that money. So as opposed to some of the money going back and then coming back to us, obviously every year as a parastatal, we do need to sit and again have a very in-depth meeting with Treasury where they either slash your budgets or say you need to do this or say you need to do that. So again, a lot of our expenses, I'd like to say, are catered through our revenue.
I have to ask the question, how much money do you actually generate on a yearly basis?
Well, minus obviously the pandemic, because obviously we, with the meetings and everything like that,
considered and everything being equal, yes.
we generate, not revenue, but generate in terms of well over 2 billion shillings.
Every year.
Yes.
And is that something, I mean, as you've given global examples of what, conference centers, convention centers are able to do, is that figure, can a potential be applied to that figure? I guess is the question I'm trying to ask.
It definitely can, because
we can do much more.
We can,
than
and the
that.
one thing that is lacking in my dream is to, really hope that we're able to push it, and is this catering. We lose a lot of money as KICC because we don't have our catering. So, when you go to a hotel and you're doing a package, or you're doing they do the morning teas, they do a conference package.
Yep.
That is why we are still, again, lagging with that, because we are dependent on our third-party suppliers, and that's for catering. So again, I would also not be doing my job. That's one of the things we are pushing. That's one of the things we're really wanting to do, is because we have to charge for our space because we depend on catering. We pay out over 800 million shillings a year to catering. Now, if we were able to keep that is why conferencing is huge, and that's why when I was going around to all the hotels, it's something that I'm teaching people and saying to them, you've got a space, you've got a catering facility, do your conferencing packages, because you give the room for free, but then you do your morning teas, your lunches, your conference packages, and that's 100% profit.
So are you saying, can I just interject? So are you saying essentially that, conference taking place at KICC and all your delegates are there, but then you have to outsource the food, for example, because if you had it in another space, folks are having a meeting in the morning, they're going to break for lunch or tea. The hotel essentially will provide that. They come back to their meeting, they're having lunch, the hotel is providing that. More than likely, they're, put up in the hotel. So then they're having dinner and everything there.
Accommodation is in the hotel.
So they don't have to really go anywhere, except now when they're done with their work and they go for their own leisure activities. So what then would it take to have something like that? I mean, looking at a space where KICC could have their own restaurant.
But no, isn't this a double-edged sword? Because 800 million goes into supporting, complementing institutions that also are in that same space as you. But their particular specialization is accommodation. KICC is not a hotel.
Yeah.
Okay? So really, what do you want? Because denying these institutions...
We're not denying them.
But we wouldn't, and
Look
again,
at it
to even
this
say
way.
that is, it's the bigger picture with everything. So it's not like we want to take that and now be a monopoly and take people out of business. Like we were saying before, there's definitely room for everybody. If we had our own catering, we would be able to be a lot more self-sufficient. And I was saying, my job as KICC is to generate revenue. When I go for meetings with Treasury, when I do, the first thing is that we how much money you're coming in. So the way that I look at it, if KICC had their own catering services, government catering is potentially...
It's very big business.
5 billion shillings. 5 billion shillings a year. Now, I'm not saying that the hotels, because that's their livelihood. That's also what they also depend on top of the accommodation. But there's so much potential for that. And what I mean by that is because, yes, I would like to have KICC to have their own catering facility, and also brings us up to international standards, modern standards, because even just to have a tea, we don't have a kettle.
Can't
internally.
even give samosa.
You can't even have a samosa.
We have to outsource. But again, when I say 800 million, that is going out to them. We are also collecting it because, of course, on third-party services, we collect 30% of that. So you can do the math with that. But again, we would like to be able to have more, because if we're able to have more money, what does that mean then for KICC? That means that we're able to then generate... if we wanted to now go to Mombasa and have another KICC there, if we wanted to go to Kisumu and do something there, but my business is to expand.
But you have the capacity to do all these things, Nana. I mean, there are restaurants at KICC. I mean, you've got space.
They're not our restaurants.
Right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
You're the landlord.
Yes. We partner with them, for sure. We do partner with them.
Nana, you're avoiding the question.
Sorry.
You're the landlord.
You are the landlord.
Can
Yes.
you run this restaurant?
No, so that's why I'm also saying I particularly and you're right, I do not want to have a catering service, and as CEO, I do not want to now have something where I'm having to now know what the price of a tomato is, the meat with that. I don't want anyone to have that headache. I want to create a catering space. We have cross-pollination in NAS, that is the government entity. Utali. Why can I not have the Utali graduates, when they now finish, where do they go? The top chef, the top students afterwards, because then they'd be able to come and work as ushers, work as waiters, if I can create a shell that can then be able to service that. So again, I'm not having my team doing that. I'm just running that. So again, at the same time, we're still giving out to Utali, so Utali can better itself.
I don't
NAS
get it. So
can
are you
better
saying
itself. And we also able to collect that money, because we would be the biggest benefactor, because we have meetings every day that require catering services.
So KICC Catering Services, but not by KICC, but in partnership
We manage it.
with...
Other governmental institutions.
How different is that from what you're doing now?
No, there's difference. The structure doesn't exist in KICC as we speak. If the structure is created, apart from the 30%, what I'm hearing is they're likely to make more money
Yes.
than they're currently
So
making.
they'll be at 60.
So they don't prevent the others from making
They would
money.
still do that.
But they make more. And
Ministry
also,
of Foreign Affairs want to have a function. They put a work ticket in. We now deliver to them. But when I say we use the NAS. If NAS can provide for airlines, why can they not do that for? It's just to neatly put everything together. Sorry, CT.
No, the thing that I was thinking about as you're speaking, what really is the revenue realizing capacity of KICC? Because, yes, you want to make more, but if you look at the entity and you look at the wherewithal within it, what can it actually, if it was working optimally, what can you hope to generate?
A lot more than what we're. I mean, now I have to say we're doing. I'm not saying we're not doing a lot, but in terms of projection,
Yeah, projection.
exactly.
Wishful
So
thinking.
if we had the catering service,
800.
even more than that, because we would now be taking over government. So we're looking at. I would basically be giving people the target of. With this catering service, you need to be coming in at 2 billion shillings.
Okay.
Only for that, because again, you would be doing all the anyway, as we've spoken about that. If we were able to have capacity, more room space, more meeting space, right? Again, that would generate more revenue with that. Again, I would say another 500 million in regards to that. If we were now also again with our partnerships,
event supply space.
we've formed a partnership with Kenya Railways, right? And again, as part of the Delegate Experience, every time when I'm having to go to Mombasa, I've got two options. I either go early morning to catch that meeting at 8 o'clock, and I mean, you all do the same and everything, or you take that last flight at night. We've got a fantastic train service that is there. It is very cost effective. It is very time efficient. And what we now want to do is we're now dubbing it meetings on the go. So again, the same way that you can hire Savo, or you can hire the Launch, or you can hire, we are now in partnership with Kenya Railways, where we are taking on 4 carriages. 2 of them are now being gutted out, is what we're wanting to do, and wanting to do this by the end of this year. Have 2 of the carriages gutted out, a big boardroom put in, and you have your meetings, and you've got a beautiful view as you're going down. The other 2, we are now looking at having big size seats, reclining seats. We would like to partner with Kenya Airways. Again, it's a cross-pollination in terms of you're sitting in a Kenya Airways seat, you're reclining. However, I can get onto the train at 8 o'clock. I can do my work. I can get into Mombasa at a good time. 1 o'clock, I can be picked up. I can then go to my hotel. I've got a partnership with the hotels. I have my lunch and I'm ready to start. It's about time management. It's about having a different outlook on it. And it's about creating a different type of
KICC
experience.
then being the driver.
We would manage
of
those.
this.
We would run those. Yes, yeah. With that, and it's looking at. We have to be innovative, thinking out of the box. I'm a marketer by profession. You know, it's when everyone's. I used to love the Super Bowl when I was in America, but it wasn't because of the football. It was because of the ads in between.
The experience around
The ads
Super
that you
Bowl.
see there, I would critique them. I sit and I critique ads to this day. I'm an ad watcher. You know, that is what I like to do. But again, you know, it's bringing something different, and it's being again. Why can people not do that? Why can you not hire those type
Nana.
of services? Yeah.
7 years at the helm of KICC.
Yes.
All right. These things that you're saying sounding brilliant, good ideas, the way that KICC could go. What have you done?
What have I done?
Yes.
Wow.
Like those main things. You see, like the way you're talking about
No, I understand,
partnerships
and
with
exactly.
Kenya Railways.
The
blah, blah, blah.
first thing I would like to say that I have done is I have reduced the rate of corruption at KICC. When I got there, it was a total mess, and I will not lie. I'm a Rottweiler. I make no apology for it, and I do not allow people to take the mickey, so to speak. KICC was that. Every day we have an event at KICC, right? But again, it was to streamline that. It was to stop that.
Okay.
So number one was to reduce and limit that. We are now being benchmarked by countries outside of Kenya in terms of by EACC. So EACC actually send countries to come and benchmark on KICC in terms of that ethics and ethical side of it. So again, that's number one. Number two is the staff, what's it called? The staff welfare. I'm very passionate about that. I don't know if it's because I'm the youngest, so you've always had to shout a bit louder, do all of that type of thing. But that's one thing that it really gets to me with that. So when I came to KICC, of course, we had to cull a lot of the mismanagement that was taking place. I won't even lie. And of course, how did I come to KICC? I was first the advisor for Phyllis Candier as tourism. I then came in through KICC as head of marketing and seconded to the Ministry of Tourism. And that's how I went back, because obviously with the whole WTO, of course, headlines, news, sensational news before, with not paying the suppliers, all of that, the corruption, the mismanagement of that. But of course, the headlines. But to be very specific, that was before my time. But that does not mean, as the accounting officer coming in, I had to streamline that. So
Okay.
back to the staff. One thing I'm really pushing for, and I really would like, is the recategorization of KICC, in terms of government and having them looked after. We are a very young staff. Our average age, and I say our, it's not mine, I'm in the age group of KICC. It's age, I just had my birthday yesterday, so with that. Having said that, the staff, 30 years average. That's very different for government. That's very, very different. So again, you've got a lot of young families. You're looking at the trajectory. You've got 30 years in that position. There's some people who have been there already who are like maybe in their 40s. They've been at KICC for 10 years. And I now go to HR and I say, they're in grade 7. Why have they not moved up? Why are you not giving them that? Also again with training. We have a training vote every year for the staff. But again, why is housekeeping not doing flower arrangements? Better yourself and better your CV. Because with that, we will then do partnerships with KFC, Kenya Flower Council, and not the chicken people.
Got it.
But where it's another government parastatal. KICC is an advertisement spot. So if we've got meetings and we have a little card and it's like flowers provided by the Kenya Flower Council, this is the birds of paradise, this is the season. It's an information piece. You're marketing the country. So those type of things. But back to that, changing the staff's actual outlook. They play a specific role in KICC, more than the CEO. And I like to make that very clear in the board. When I first came to KICC, obviously I was there as acting. And actually, I didn't apply for the position when it was now coming up for it, because I was like, I'm coming for acting. I was like, and we used to have barazas every month. And the staff called a baraza. And I was thinking, gosh, what's going on? Why is that? And they called a baraza on me. And they were like, CEO, we hear you've not applied. And they were like, do you understand? In the last 6-7 months you've been there with the board, with what you've been able to do, you have made it. Before we used to be embarrassed to say where we work. Now we are proud to do that. They're like, you cannot finish now. There's so much work you can do. You're vested. I'm vested. Like I said, I'm a Rottweiler. I'll fight for that. So I still get emotional to this day about it, because it was the staff who pushed me to do that.
So it's like a vote of confidence.
Yes.
They're telling you in your acting capacity, you've done a lot more than many who've been here before you, and we'd like you to be
continue.
our leader. It's basically people telling you, we want you to be our leader.
It's people telling you we actually like what you've done.
Stay
We
on.
are happy that all the things that we've had to put up with, we no longer have to put up with. and we can actually see where we are going. Previously, we were just, as you say, there.
We're just there.
There, yes.
So it's very so it's a bittersweet, and like when I now come to the end of it and back to with what your question was, what have I done in the last 7 years?
Quite a bit.
The team have put
You know what?
KICC
We want,
back.
we want you to come back some other time. So we look back into the entire journey
Okay.
of KICC. All right. In those 49, 50 years, what has KICC been and what should KICC be going forward?
Of course.
Nana, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here.